look where, what if economy didn't fail? We would be sitting pretty right now if that Devonshire, you know, got built and the Island Lakes. So, you know, it didn't work out that time, but like you said, that we have to take a chance in order to revive ourselves, to revitalize our city again. And I don't think that that was necessarily wrong decisions at that time. I don't think that at all. I just think that the economy didn't cooperate. But had it, boy, we would be in a good spot with all that income, and you know, you build these things, and with all the extra people there, we would have needed more restaurants. You know, build them. You know, they will come. That kind of theory. And I think this is, you know, we have to take this chance. I think it would be really good for us.
Dennis.
Madam Chair, just so everyone knows, Tifa has discussed this. We have a meeting tomorrow at 6 o'clock before the council meeting. Everyone's invited to be there. They had a lot of concerns a week ago. I asked many of the questions that have been discussed tonight, and it might be an interesting meeting for all who might attend. And the dean likes an audience.
As well, Mr. Stapleton, yes. Pat McGowan, the bond council will be present for that. So.
Okay, and Mr.
If
Vivian?
we feel he needs to stay
beyond. That's at 6 o'clock, by the way.
I neglected to introduce my team. Ron Thompson's our lawyer. John Kennedy, Bob Kennedy's nephew. My son, John Vivian, who lives here in Taylor on, what's the name? Taylor. I can't find it unless it's there. And Pat Hawkins, the former recreation director for the city of Trenton, was brought on for the purpose of doing all the recreation and handling all the Meals on Wheels and that kind of stuff. Because we're going to, after we own several buildings, we're going to then go out and take over struggling and failing buildings like we did years ago and keep them in business, keep people skating, and try to keep the sport of hockey, figure skating, soccer, bring it to communities that otherwise wouldn't have it unless they have a multi-purpose venue. So our goal is to have 1 or 2 or 3 buildings that we can do the training of employees in. Our corporate office is here. I have a condo down in Woodhaven. I had to find something to put my head in the bed for a while. So I have a condo down in Woodhaven. So I'm very close to it. John lives in Taylor. My daughter's going to be moving here in probably in May. Her husband's in the military in Missouri. He's a captain in the Army, and he's going to be retiring pretty soon. And he will hopefully take a position at a local university as the ROTC, head of the ROTC area. And they'll be able to move here, but she's going to come anyway in May and work long distance in a romance like my wife and I do. So we are citizens of this community as well. And this is going to be our corporate center if this is approved.
Yeah, no attorneys over here.
Madam Chair, I'm going to ask the council again if there aren't questions regarding the contracts and/or the legal opinions. I would certainly. I know Mr. Martin had a great drive here, as he was letting me know. But Mr. Martin, Mr. Martin, Mr. Silver, if we don't have any related to their opinions and/or the contract itself, cut down our billable hours.
Okay.
Madam Chair.
Mayor, or John.
As I went through the contract on page 9, beginning at the bottom of page 8, the sentence, the detail of all actions or proceedings which are threatened or pending against the either buyer at any time during the term of this agreement shall be disclosed. It didn't make any sense to me. I'm assuming that is an oversight. Either.
The details of all actions are presented. It's a disclosure. If there are any disclosure, if there are any litigation, or there are any outstanding claims, or we're disclosing to either party at the earliest possible convenience.
Against the either buyer?
Where is that? I guess.
Oh,
I'm looking at the wrong.
Section 3.5 shows what you're looking at?
Yep.
Oh, against either body. There was it's a typo. The word "the" should be gone. either the buyer or seller, I guess it should be either buyer or seller is what it should say.
You have a litigation pending against the city from a young man by the name of Norton?
Yes.
Norton, that was hurt about 3 years ago in a roller hockey game at the building. That's the only litigation I'm familiar with that's pending at the.
Yeah, the point is, if it's either the buyer or seller, that it should say.
Yeah, no, that's a good guy.
Well, why would we want to throw the seller in there if it's not there?
Huh?
Why would we want to throw the seller in there if it's not there?
Well, I think that the intent was either, man. Was either buyer or seller.
Good catch for the other guy, John.
Felt kind of
Okay.
foolish you mentioned it, but,
Okay, any other questions for Neil right now, John?
nope.
Well, it looks like you got a lot highlighted there, Don. I'd like to know,
Oh.
some of your
Well,
other concerns.
I'll run you a copy of it.
Well, just, share them with me so I can think about them too.
He's not doing your homework for you. You're doing homework. Just on the contract, and I mentioned it in our Friday morning meeting, it speaks to the inventory, but it doesn't itemize the schedule of inventory.
You know, quite frankly, I went through that with Ron, that's gonna be NA, we don't own anything out there.
Well, there's some of the Sports Hall of Fame stuff that's.
That, the contract does
Okay, so we
exclude the
don't-
Hall of Fame.
Okay, so nothing else, I mean, that we shouldn't itemize anything else that's there?
My understanding is that there's nothing there other than Christmas lights that go with the actual building itself.
Okay, just
And
making sure.
but I'm looking, that guy right there, is there,
Well, most of the time when you reference the inventory, there's an itemized schedule
Yeah.
of the inventory that's being referenced.
and it's gonna be an NA.
Okay.
That exhibit's gonna be an NA. As the due diligence went on drafting this, there isn't any. But you will notice that there is a special provision with respect to the Hall of Fame. He's going to continue to allow us to maintain the plaques there, hold ceremonies there, and use the Hall of Fame.
And we want to
What about
continue the
commencements
FEMA
also, right?
agreement.
Well, we need to talk about the FEMA agreement, there isn't a FEMA agreement.
Commencements too?
Oh,
We can certainly put you in contact
yeah,
with
with that.
the county and their Homeland Security team, but
Right,
they,
business, right?
yeah, they kind of went away from it because the management company was wanting more money than they were willing to
$15,000, yeah, they
spend
wanted
if there was ever an incident, so.
What about the
But-
commencements?
But they would,
Can be booked there, commencements can be booked there.
Well, obviously, they'll take whatever bookings, but it was.
Jackson, only the equipment, I believe only the equipment they need to have the ceremony there would be the charge to the schools, correct? For the-
Commencement.
For the graduation
Yes,
ceremony,
yes.
only the equipment that would need to be
That's
rented.
essentially what you're
would be
paying,
the
they're
only
paying
cost.
now, they're not paying very much for it.
Use.
But we may have to horse trade that off for a hockey team.
Yeah, they need one, they
We
need
discussed,
two.
we
I'm a
discussed
horse
that,
trader.
we
They
discussed
need
that in
two.
our meeting about the graduations.
All right, so anything else for the legalese that are here, so that we can send them on their way?
Yeah, I have one more question. In several places in the contract, it talks about things occurring at least 10 days after the execution of the agreement. And again, this seems to me as though it's putting the cart before the horse. For example, deliver to buyer copies of any existing Phase 1 environmental audits. Why wouldn't we do that before the execution of the agreement?
Yeah, typically, I can tell you. One is that they actually had it as 10 days prior to the closing, they wanted copies of them, I changed it to get it to them quicker. But typically, those are things that you don't give out just to any Tom, Dick, and Harry until you know you've got a deal, and then you can share some of the stuff that you've got in your file. But as, I have